Admiral Vexthari had served the Galactic Empire for 60 years. He had watched stars die. He had commanded fleets that burned worlds. He had seen things that would break lesser minds. But nothing in his long career prepared him for the footage. Playing on his command screen, the recording came from an automated sensor drone. In the contested zone, it showed the Dominion Dreadnought Eternal Fury hanging in space like a metal mountain. The ship was massive. It carried enough firepower to destroy entire civilizations. Its shields could withstand bombardment for days. Its crew numbered in the thousands. The Eternal Fury had been the terror of the outer systems. It raided convoys. It destroyed colonies. It answered to no law because no force existed that could challenge it. The footage showed a small vessel approaching the dreadnought. Vexthari leaned forward in his command chair. The approaching ship was barely visible against the massive warship. It looked like an insect next to a mountain. The ship's identification codes appeared on screen. Human registry. Civilian classification. A cargo freighter named the Morning Star. Crew complement of 12. Vexthari watched the Eternal Fury open fire. Plasma cannons that could melt asteroids lashed out at the tiny freighter. The Morning Star moved. It moved in ways that cargo ships should not move. It slipped between the plasma streams like water flowing around stones. Then something happened that Vexthari could not understand. The Morning Star released something. The sensors could not identify it. The object was small. It moved slowly toward the Eternal Fury. The Dreadnought's point defense systems fired at it. They missed. They kept missing. The object touched the Eternal Fury shield. It passed through. Shields that could stop nuclear weapons simply let the object pass like it was not there. The object touched the hull. The Eternal Fury died. It did not explode. It did not burn. It simply stopped. Every light went dark. Every system failed. The massive warship became a tomb drifting in the void. Then the Morning Star fired something else. This time, the Eternal Fury did explode. The dreadnought broke apart in a bloom of fire and metal. Debris scattered across thousands of kilometers. The Morning Star turned and jumped away. The whole engagement lasted less than 4 minutes. Vexthari played the footage again. Then again. Then a dozen more times. Each viewing left him more confused than the last. He opened a communication channel to the Imperial Archive. The archive contained records of every species, every technology, every weapon system in known space. If something existed, the archive knew about it. Archive Master Krulvos appeared on screen. He was an ancient creature with too many eyes and not enough patience. He had served the archive for centuries. "Admiral," Krulvos said, "this communication is unexpected." "I'm sending you footage," Vexthari said. "I need identification of the weapon system used." He transmitted the recording. He watched Krulvos watch it. He saw the archive master's many eyes widen with each passing second. "Play it again," Krulvos demanded. Vexthari sent it again. "The energy signature of the first object," Krulvos muttered. "It matches nothing. The shield penetration method is unknown. The secondary weapon is also unidentified. The ship is human," Vexthari said. "Check human military records." Krulvos worked his console for several minutes. His movements grew more frantic as time passed. Finally, he looked up at the Admiral with an expression that Vexthari had never seen on the ancient creature's face. Fear. "Admiral," Krulvos said slowly, "it's not in our records." "What do you mean?" "Everything is in the records. Human military technology is fully cataloged. We have complete inventories of their weapons. Plasma rifles, chemical projectile systems, basic nuclear devices. Nothing matches what I just witnessed." Then they developed something new. "Admiral," Humans lack the industrial base to develop weapons of this magnitude. Their research facilities are documented. Their scientific output is monitored. They could not have created this without us knowing. Vextari felt cold despite the warmth of his command deck. Then, where did this weapon come from? I don't know, Krilvos admitted. And that terrifies me. The Admiral ended the communication and sat in silence. Humans. He knew humans. Everyone knew humans. They were a minor species from a small world at the edge of civilized space. They had been part of the galactic community for 3 centuries. They traded goods. They transported cargo. They served as diplomats because they were good at talking and useless at fighting. Humans were harmless. This was known. This was recorded. This was fact. Yet the footage showed a human cargo ship destroying the most powerful warship in the contested zone. Vextari opened a channel to Fleet Command. His superiors needed to see this. The High Council needed to see this. Everyone needed to understand that something impossible had just happened. The response came within the hour. An emergency session of the Imperial Council was called. Representatives from a dozen species gathered in the Great Chamber on the capital world. Vextari transmitted the footage to every screen. He watched their reactions: shock, confusion, disbelief, the same emotions he had felt. High Councilor Thrax spoke first. She was ancient and powerful and had ruled the council for generations. This must be a fabrication. Human ships cannot do this. The sensor drone's data is authentic, Vextari replied. I have verified it personally. Then the humans acquired technology from another source. Perhaps the precursors left something behind. No precursor technology matches this signature. I checked. Councilor Drex of the Dominion slammed his appendage on his console. This is an act of war. A human vessel destroyed an Imperial Dominion warship. We demand justice. The Eternal Fury was operating in neutral space, another councilor pointed out, raiding civilian convoys. Perhaps the humans were defending themselves. Defense does not justify this level of violence. The Dominion will not accept such an insult. The argument continued for hours. Vextari stopped listening after the first few minutes. He was watching the footage again on his personal screen. Something bothered him about the Morning Star's movements. The ship flew like it knew exactly where every attack would come from. Like it could see the future. No, not see the future. Predicted. Calculated. The ship's pilot knew the Eternal Fury's attack patterns before they happened. How was that possible? The Dominion changed their tactical protocols regularly. They used encrypted systems. Their patterns should have been unpredictable, unless someone had been watching them, learning them. For a very long time, Vextari felt the cold again. Humans had been trading in the contested zone for 2 centuries. Their freighters traveled everywhere. They saw everything. They talked to everyone. What if they had been watching? What if every human ship was also a spy vessel? What if 300 years of peaceful trade was actually 300 years of intelligence gathering? He pushed the thought away. It was paranoid. Humans were simple creatures. They liked money and comfort and peace. They did not think in terms of centuries, but the footage remained on his screen. A human cargo ship had killed a dreadnought. This was real. This had happened. The council finally reached a decision. They would summon the human ambassador. They would demand answers. They would learn the truth about this weapon and ensure it was never used again. Vextari was ordered to attend the questioning. He accepted without enthusiasm. He already knew the ambassador would lie. Everyone lied to the council, but something in him whispered that this time was different. This time, the lies might be worse than the truth. He looked at the frozen image of the Morning Star on his screen. Such a small ship. Such a harmless name. Such ordinary humans aboard it. What else were they hiding? That night, Vexthari could not sleep. He kept thinking about the weapon that passed through shields. He kept thinking about the movement patterns that predicted the future. He kept thinking about 3 centuries of smiling humans who traded and talked, and never once showed what they could really do. The Empire had made assumptions about humanity. Everyone had made assumptions. Humans were weak. Humans were peaceful. Humans were no threat to anyone. What if all of those assumptions were wrong? What if humans had wanted them to assume those things? Vexthari finally fell asleep near dawn. His dreams were filled with small ships and impossible weapons and smiling human faces that hid secrets. No one had ever thought to ask about Dot in the morning. The summons went out. Ambassador Chun of Earth was ordered to appear before the Imperial Council. She would answer for the destruction of the Eternal Fury. She would reveal the secret of human weapons, and the galaxy would finally learn what humanity had been hiding for 300 years. Or so the Council believed. Vexthari was no longer certain about anything. The only thing he knew for sure was that the footage was real. Human cargo ship had killed a dreadnought, and no one knew how. Ambassador Sarah Chun walked into the Imperial Council chamber like she owned it. She was a small woman with gray hair and a calm face. She wore simple clothes in the Earth diplomatic style. Nothing about her appearance suggested power or danger. 12 species watched her enter. Counselors from the greatest civilizations in known space. Beings who commanded fleets and ruled worlds and decided the fate of billions. They stared at this small human woman with expressions ranging from contempt to curiosity. Chun took her position at the speaking platform. She looked around the chamber without fear. She had been ambassador to the Empire for 15 years. She knew every counselor by name. She knew their species, their histories, their weaknesses. High Counselor Thrax spoke first. Her voice echoed through the massive chamber. Ambassador Chun, you have been summoned to answer for an act of war committed by a vessel of human registry. I am aware of the incident, Chun replied. Her voice was soft but carried well. I have reviewed the footage. Then you know that a human ship destroyed the Dominion Dreadnought Eternal Fury. I know that the Eternal Fury was destroyed. Yes. Counselor Drex of the Dominion rose from his seat. His scales were flushed with anger. That ship murdered 3,000 Dominion crew. This is an act of aggression that demands punishment. Chun turned to face him. Her expression did not change. Counselor Drex, how many human civilians did the Eternal Fury kill in the past year? That is not relevant to this discussion. I think it is very relevant. The Eternal Fury raided 17 human convoy ships in the contested zone. It destroyed 12 of them completely. It captured 5 and sold the survivors as slaves. Total human deaths, approximately 4,700. Those were lawful operations in disputed territory. Lawful according to whom? Earth filed complaints with this council 6 times. We provided evidence. We provided witness testimony. We asked for intervention. Threx interrupted. The council determined that the incidents occurred outside Imperial jurisdiction. We had no authority to act. Yes, Chun said. That was your determination. So humans were dying and the council did nothing. The Dominion kept raiding. More humans died. And still the council did nothing. This does not excuse the destruction of a Dominion warship. Chun smiled. It was a gentle smile. Patient. Almost sad. The Morning Star was a cargo freighter, transporting medical supplies to the colony on New Haven. The Eternal Fury intercepted them and demanded surrender. The captain of the Morning Star refused. The Eternal Fury opened fire, and your ship destroyed a vessel 1,000 times its size. How? What weapon did it use? The crew improvised. Silence filled the chamber. Drex stared at Chun like she had spoken in a language he could not understand. Improvised? He repeated, "The Morning Star is a mining vessel. Its crew are miners and engineers. When faced with destruction, they use the tools available to them. Mining equipment, engineering knowledge, creative thinking. You expect us to believe the miners defeated a dreadnought. I expect you to believe the truth. The weapon used against the Eternal Fury was not a weapon at all. It was a modified mining charge fitted with an improvised shield phase generator. The crew built it during the engagement using spare parts." Admiral Vexthari spoke from his position near the council seats. "A shield phase generator? That technology does not exist. It exists now. A human engineer named Marcus Webb invented it approximately 40 minutes before your dreadnought died. He was trying not to be killed. Necessity inspired creativity. The chamber erupted in noise. Counselors shouted at each other. Some called Chun a liar. Others demanded more information. A few simply sat in stunned silence. Threx raised her appendage for order. The noise slowly faded. "Ambassador Chun, you are asking this council to believe that a single human engineer invented technology that surpasses anything in our records. In 40 minutes, under combat conditions. I am telling you what happened. Whether you believe it is your choice." "This is absurd," Drex growled. "Humans do not have this capacity. Your species is documented. Your intelligence levels are recorded. You are clever, but not exceptional. You could not have done this." Chun's smile faded. Something shifted in her expression. For just a moment, Vexthari saw something behind her calm exterior. Something cold. "Counselor Drex, you have studied humanity for 3 centuries. You have records of our art and music and literature. You know our biology, our psychology, our social structures. You believe you understand us. We understand you completely. Then answer me this. How many wars has humanity fought against itself?" Drex paused. "Your internal conflicts are documented. Several hundred significant wars over your recorded history." "Several hundred," Chun repeated. "And in those wars, we developed weapons that could destroy our own world. We built bombs that could end our species. We created poisons and plagues and machines of death that had no purpose except killing our own kind. We did this to ourselves. For thousands of years, this is known. Is it? Do you understand what it means? My species spent our entire history finding new ways to kill each other. Every generation produced new weapons, new tactics, new horrors. We are very good at war. We are very good at death. This is our heritage." The chamber was silent now. Every counselor watched Chun with new attention. "When we joined the galactic community, we chose peace. We chose trade. We chose friendship. We put away our weapons and learned to be good neighbors. But we never forgot what we were. We never forgot what we could do if pressed." "You are saying humanity has been hiding its true capabilities," Threx said slowly. "I am saying that humanity prefers peace. We truly do. We wanted to trade and explore and learn. We did not want to frighten anyone. We did not want to be seen as a threat. And now?" Chun spread her hands. The Eternal Fury attacked a human ship. The crew defended themselves. They used human creativity and human determination and human desperation. They won. This is what happens when you push humans too far. Drex slammed his console again. "This is unacceptable. The Dominion will not tolerate such threats. We demand that humanity surrender all military technology to the Council for inspection. We demand reparations for the destruction of our vessel." No, the word hung in the air. Simple, final, absolute. "You dare refuse the Dominion?" I refuse unreasonable demands. Humanity will not surrender our technology. We will not pay reparations for defending ourselves against pirates. These terms are not negotiable. Then, we will take what we want by force. Chun nodded like she had expected this. You may try, but I would advise against it. Is that a threat? It is information. The Morning Star was a mining vessel crewed by 12 civilians. They destroyed your dreadnought in 4 minutes using improvised tools. Consider what might happen if you attack a world defended by humans who have had time to prepare. Drex opened his mouth to respond. Nothing came out. He slowly closed it again. Drex leaned forward. Ambassador Chun, what exactly is humanity capable of? That is a very good question. The honest answer is that we are not entirely sure ourselves. Human creativity is unpredictable. When threatened, we find solutions that did not exist before. We invent, we adapt, we overcome. You are saying you do not know the limits of your own species. I am saying that humanity has never found those limits. Every time we face an impossible situation, we discover new possibilities. This is how we survived on a dangerous world. This is how we reached the stars. This is what we are. Vexthari listened to every word. He understood now why he had felt such unease. Humans had not been hiding a weapon. They had been hiding themselves. Their true nature. Their real capacity. The galaxy had looked at humans and seen peaceful traders. Friendly diplomats. Harmless neighbors. The galaxy had not looked deeper. Had not asked questions. Had not wondered what lay beneath the smiling faces. Now the galaxy was learning. And the lesson was terrifying. Chun made a small bow to the council. I hope this incident can be resolved peacefully. Humanity wants to remain friends with the Empire. We want to continue trading and cooperating. But we will not be victimized. We will not watch our people die while the council does nothing. If the Dominion attacks us again, we will defend ourselves. And next time, it will not be a mining ship with improvised weapons. Next time, it will be much worse. She turned and walked out of the chamber. No one tried to stop her. Drex was shouting about honor and revenge. Other counselors were arguing about jurisdiction and response. Threx was calling for order that would not come. Vexthari ignored all of it. He was thinking about the word Chun had used. Improvised. A crew of miners had invented shield phase technology in 40 minutes. What could human scientists do with 40 years? What could human engineers build with proper resources? What had humanity been creating in secret while the galaxy assumed they were harmless? He did not know. The records did not say. And for the first time in his long career, Admiral Vexthari was genuinely afraid of the unknown. The Dominion would attack. This was certain. Drex was too angry and too proud to accept what had happened. He would send ships to punish humanity. Vexthari almost felt sorry for them. Almost. But he had seen the footage. He had heard Chun's words. He knew what was coming. The Dominion had no idea what they were about to face. Archive Master Krilvos had not slept in 3 days. His many eyes were red with exhaustion. His ancient body ached from sitting at his console for so many hours. But he could not stop. He did not rest. The mystery consumed him. The Imperial Archive was the greatest repository of knowledge in the galaxy. Krilvos had spent 4 centuries organizing its contents. He knew where every piece of information lived. He could find any record within moments. The archive was his life, his purpose, his pride. And the archive had failed. The weapon that destroyed the Eternal Fury did not exist in any record. The shield phase technology that Ambassador Chun mentioned was not documented anywhere. Humanity had somehow developed capabilities that the archive knew nothing about. This was impossible. The archive knew everything about humanity. Krovos could access human population counts, birth rates, economic output, industrial capacity. He had records of every human ship, every human colony, every human government. He pulled up the original assessment from 3 centuries ago, when humanity first joined the galactic community. The report was thorough. Human biology was documented in detail. Their world was classified as a death world due to its dangerous conditions. Their history was recorded. Their technology was catalogued. The assessment concluded that humans were a minor species with limited potential. They had achieved spaceflight through determination rather than brilliance. Their technology was crude but functional. Their military capabilities were negligible by galactic standards. Krovos had accepted this assessment without question. Everyone had accepted it. Humans were useful but unimportant. This was the truth that the archive contained. But truths could be wrong. He began searching deeper. He pulled records from every century of human involvement in galactic affairs. Trade agreements, diplomatic communications, cultural exchanges, scientific collaborations. Humans had shared freely. They gave art and music and stories to anyone who asked. They taught their languages. They explained their customs. They answered every question about their society and beliefs. Then Krovos noticed something strange. The records contained countless examples of human creativity. Paintings, sculptures, music, literature, all freely shared. All thoroughly documented. But the records contained almost nothing about human technology. Krovos searched for patents, for research papers, for technical specifications. He found very little. Humans had shared medical knowledge, agricultural techniques, some basic engineering principles. But advanced technology, weapons development, military research, nothing. He searched for the word classified in human communications. The search returned thousands of results. Humans use this word constantly. It appeared in government documents, in military reports, in research facility logs. Classified, restricted, secret, top secret. Eyes only. Humans had categories of information that they simply never shared. Krovos felt something cold crawling through his ancient body. The archive had records of what humans chose to reveal. Only what they chose to reveal. For 3 centuries, the galaxy had been collecting human information that humans deliberately provided. What about the information they kept hidden? He began searching for human military history. The archive contained basic summaries. Wars on their home world. Conflicts between nations. The development of weapons. But the details were missing. Tactics were mentioned but not explained. Weapons were named but not described. Battles were referenced but not analyzed. Krull single quotes. Voss pulled the oldest human military records he could find. Documents from before humans joined the galactic community. Most were fragmentary, poorly preserved. But what little he could read chilled him. Humans had fought wars of unimaginable brutality. They had developed weapons specifically designed to cause suffering. They had created strategies based on terror and destruction. They had killed millions of their own kind in conflicts that lasted years. And then they had stopped. When humans reached the stars, they put away their weapons. They became peaceful. They traded and talked and made friends. The violent history was left behind on their homeworld, or was it? Krovos searched for human research facilities. The archive contained a list of known institutions, universities, laboratories, medical centers, all thoroughly documented. But there were gaps. Areas on human worlds where satellites detected industrial activity, but no facilities were recorded. Energy consumption patterns that suggested hidden installations. Communications that were encrypted beyond the archive's ability to decode. Humans maintained secrets. This was clear now. The question was how many secrets and how significant. He searched for any reference to the shield phase technology mentioned by Ambassador Chun. Nothing existed in the archive. But he found something interesting. 20 years ago, a human physicist named Dr. Elena Vasquez published a paper on theoretical energy states. The paper discussed the possibility of phase-shifting matter through electromagnetic barriers. It was dismissed by the galactic scientific community as speculation. Dr. Vasquez stopped publishing after that paper. Her name disappeared from academic records. She simply vanished. Krylvos found dozens of similar cases. Human scientists who published theoretical work on advanced technologies. Scientists who were then told their ideas were impossible. Scientists who then disappeared from public view. Where did they go? The answer was obvious now. They went somewhere classified. They went to work on projects that the galaxy would never see. They went to turn theory into reality. Krylvos leaned back from his console. His many eyes stared at nothing. His mind processed what he had discovered. Humanity had been lying for 3 centuries, not actively lying. They had answered every question honestly. They had shared everything they were asked to share. They had been perfect galactic citizens, but they had never volunteered their secrets. They had never revealed their true capabilities. They had let the galaxy believe they were harmless while building something hidden. What had they built? The shield phase technology was proof that human scientists could achieve the impossible. If they could develop that in secret, what else had they created? What weapons existed that no one knew about? What defenses protected human worlds? Krylvos began compiling a new file. He titled it, Humanity, True Assessment. But as he tried to write the contents, he realized he had nothing to put in it. The archive had failed completely. Everything it contained about human capabilities was wrong. The truth was hidden behind walls of classification and secrecy that had stood for 300 years. He could only guess at what humans were really capable of. And his guesses terrified him. Humans came from a death world. They survived conditions that killed other species. They evolved as persistent predators who hunted by outlasting their prey. They developed intelligence as a survival mechanism, and then they spent thousands of years fighting each other, developing weapons, refining tactics, learning how to kill with maximum efficiency. The species that emerged from that crucible was not the peaceful traders the galaxy knew. Those peaceful traders were a mask, a performance, a deliberate deception designed to make humans seem harmless. Underneath the mask was something else, something forged in violence and tempered by survival, something that had been waiting and watching and preparing for 3 centuries. Krylvos activated his communication system. He needed to speak with the council. They needed to know what he had discovered. But what could he tell them? That the archive had been fooled? That humanity had secrets no one could access? That the galaxy had no idea what it was dealing with? He composed his message carefully. He explained his findings, the gaps in records, the classified information, the disappeared scientists, the hidden capabilities. He ended with a warning. The Dominion was preparing to attack human worlds. Counselor Drax was gathering a fleet. He believed humans were weak enemies who would fall quickly. Drax was wrong. Whatever humanity had been building in secret was about to be revealed. And Krylvos suspected the galaxy would not like what it saw. He sent the message and waited. The response came within hours. The council acknowledged his findings. They agreed that humanity was more dangerous than previously believed. But they could not stop the Dominion. Drax had authority over his own military. His fleet was already moving toward human space. Krylvos could only watch and wait. He kept his new file open on his console. Humanity, True Assessment. Still empty. Still waiting for information that might never come, or information that might come very soon. When the Dominion fleet reached human space, something would happen. The secrets would be revealed. The mask would fall, and the archive would finally learn the truth about humanity. Krilvos almost hoped the truth would be less terrible than he feared. But deep in his ancient heart, he knew it would be worse. Much worse. Humans had been hiding for 3 centuries. They had smiled and traded and pretended to be harmless. They had watched the galaxy underestimate them, again and again. Now someone was forcing them to show what they really were. The archive master could only pray that the galaxy survived the revelation. Counselor Drex stood on the command deck of his flagship and watched 40 warships form around him. The Dominion fleet of punishment was the largest military force assembled in a decade. Dreadnoughts, battle cruisers, destroyers, carriers loaded with fighter craft. Enough firepower to crack a planet. The human colony of New Melbourne lay one day away. It was a small world with a population of 2 million. It had no military significance, no strategic value, but it was the closest human settlement to Dominion space. It would burn first. Drex had spent his entire life believing in Dominion superiority. His species had conquered dozens of worlds. They had crushed civilizations that dared to challenge them. They feared nothing because nothing could threaten them. The destruction of the Eternal Fury had shaken that belief. But only briefly. One lucky victory meant nothing. The humans had caught the dreadnought by surprise. They had used some trick that would not work twice. The Dominion fleet would be ready. His advisors had shown him the reports from the Imperial Archive. Warnings about human capabilities. Suggestions that humanity was hiding advanced technology. Drex dismissed all of it. Humans were merchants, traders, diplomats. They talked about peace because they were too weak for war. The ambassador's threats were bluffs designed to frighten cowards. Drex was no coward. The fleet jumped to faster than light speed. The stars blurred and vanished. For several hours they traveled through the between space that connected distant points of the galaxy. Then they emerged above New Melbourne. Drex studied the planet on his view screen. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds. It looked peaceful, vulnerable, a world waiting to be punished. His sensors swept the system. They found no military vessels, no defense platforms, no orbital weapons. The colony was completely unprotected. Drex allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. The humans had believed their threats would work. They had not bothered to defend their world. They would pay for that arrogance. Begin orbital bombardment protocols, he commanded. Target population centers first. I want them to know the resistance brings destruction. His weapons officers began their targeting procedures. Plasma cannons powered up across the fleet. In moments the first city would burn. Then the sensors screamed. Ships appeared from nowhere. One moment the space around the fleet was empty. The next moment it was filled with vessels. Human vessels. Small and sleek and moving impossibly fast. Drex stared at his display. How many? 47 ships, Counselor. All human registry. Unknown classification. 47 ships against 40. The numbers were almost equal. But the Dominion ships were massive warships. The human vessels were tiny by comparison. They cannot possibly think they can win this engagement, Drex said. Open fire. Destroy them all. The Dominion fleet fired everything it had. Plasma cannons, missile batteries, energy beams. Thousands of weapons released their fury at once. The human ships moved. Drex had seen the footage of the Morning Star. He had watched that tiny freighter dodge the Eternal Fury's attacks. He had told himself it was a trick, a lucky pilot, something that would not happen again. He was wrong. Every human ship moved like a dancer avoiding clumsy hands. They slipped between plasma streams. They twisted around missiles. They seemed to know where every attack would land before it was fired. Not a single shot connected. "That is impossible," Drex whispered. "Nothing can move like that." His tactical officer was staring at his console with naked terror. "Counselor, their acceleration exceeds any known propulsion system. Their maneuvers violate inertial limitations. I do not understand how they are doing this. Find out." But there was no time to find out. The human ships finished their evasive dance and began their attack. Drex watched a small human vessel approach his nearest dreadnought. The dreadnought fired everything it had. Point defense systems, close-range weapons, emergency countermeasures. Nothing worked. The human ship released something, a small object that moved slowly through space. It touched the dreadnought shields and passed through them like they were not there. Dreadnought died. Every system failed. Lights went dark. Engines stopped. Weapons powered down. The massive warship became a dead hulk drifting in space. Then the human ship fired again. The dreadnought exploded. Across the battlefield, the same scene repeated. Human vessels approached Dominion warships. They released their impossible weapons. They destroyed shields and killed ships with casual precision. Drex watched his fleet die. "All ships, emergency retreat." He screamed. "Jump to faster than light. Get us out of here." Some ships managed to escape. They activated their drives and vanished into between space before the humans could reach them. But many did not. Drex counted the losses as his flagship fled. 40 ships had entered the battle. 13 managed to escape. The rest were destroyed or disabled. 11 minutes. The entire engagement lasted 11 minutes. The Dominion fleet of punishment had been punished instead. The survivors limped back to Dominion space. Drex sat in his command chair and tried to understand what had happened. His mind refused to accept the reality. Human ships had moved in ways that violated physics. Human weapons had passed through shields that could stop nuclear bombs. Human tactics had predicted Dominion maneuvers with perfect accuracy. Nothing in the Dominion military archives explained any of this. Nothing in galactic records described technology like this. The humans had weapons that should not exist. His communications officer approached with a datapad. "Counselor, we are receiving transmissions from other Dominion forces. They are asking for situation reports. Tell them." Drex stopped. What could he tell them? That he had taken 40 warships against a human colony and lost 27. That the humans had destroyed his fleet in minutes? That every assumption about human military capability was catastrophically wrong. Tell them we engaged the enemy and suffered significant losses. Tell them the human threat has been severely underestimated. Tell them to prepare for war. The officer hesitated. "Counselor, are we certain we want to continue hostilities? After what just happened?" "What happened was that we were unprepared. We did not know what we were facing. Now we do. We will gather a larger fleet. We will study their tactics. We will find countermeasures. And we will destroy them." But even as he spoke the words, Drex felt doubt creeping into his mind. The humans had hidden these capabilities for 3 centuries. They had let the galaxy believe they were harmless. They had smiled and traded and waited. For what? What else were they hiding? What would happen if the Dominion sent 100 ships instead of 40? Would the humans reveal even more devastating weapons? Drex remembered Ambassador Chun's words. Consider what might happen if you attack a world defended by humans who have had time to prepare. New Malvern had appeared undefended. But 47 warships had materialized from nowhere the moment the Dominion fleet arrived. How long had those ships been waiting? How long had humans known the attack was coming? The answer was obvious. Humans had known from the moment Drex started gathering his fleet. They had watched. They had prepared. They had set a trap, and Drex had walked right into it. He thought about the footage from the Eternal Fury, a mining ship with improvised weapons. The crew had built their shield phase device in 40 minutes. What could human, military scientists do with 40 years of preparation? What weapons had they created in secret? What defenses protected their worlds? Drex did not know. No one knew. The humans had been hiding for 3 centuries, and now they were finally showing what they could do. A small part of Drex's mind whispered a terrible thought. What if the Dominion could not win this war? What if human technology was too advanced? What if every attack only revealed more devastating capabilities? He pushed the thought away. The Dominion had conquered dozens of species. They would not be defeated by humans. They would find a way. They would adapt. They would overcome. But deep inside, Drex knew the truth. The battle above New Melbourne had changed everything. The Dominion had attacked humans and lost badly. This was not supposed to happen. This violated every assumption about the galactic order. Humans were supposed to be weak. Humans were supposed to be peaceful. Humans were supposed to be no threat to anyone. Instead, they were the most dangerous species the Dominion had ever faced. And the Dominion had just started a war they might not be able to win. Drex stared at the stars through his viewport. Somewhere out there, human ships were waiting. Human scientists were building new weapons. Human strategists were planning new tactics. The galaxy was about to learn what humanity was really capable of. Drex was no longer certain he wanted to know. The Imperial Assembly gathered in full session for the first time in a century. Representatives from every species in the Empire filled the vast chamber. Hundreds of beings watched as Ambassador Sarah Chun walked to the speaking platform. The atmosphere was different now. 2 weeks ago, the councilors had looked at Chen with contempt. They had seen a representative of a minor species, a woman from a harmless world, someone to be questioned and dismissed. Now they looked at her with fear. News of the Battle of New Melbourne had spread across the galaxy. The Dominion's devastating defeat was public knowledge. 27 warships destroyed in 11 minutes. Human technology that defied explanation. A colonial defense force that appeared from nowhere and vanished the same way. The galaxy was terrified. And the galaxy wanted answers. High Counselor Threx spoke first. Her voice trembled slightly. Ambassador Chun, you stand before the full Imperial Assembly. We require a complete explanation of recent events. Chun nodded. She looked tired. Dark circles under her eyes suggested many sleepless nights. But her voice was steady when she spoke. The Dominion attacked the human colony of New Melbourne. Our defense forces responded. The attackers were defeated. This is what happened. We require more than a summary. We require understanding. How did humanity develop technology that surpasses anything in our records? How did you hide these capabilities for 3 centuries? What else are you hiding? Chun was silent for a long moment. She seemed to be choosing her words carefully. 300 years ago, humanity joined the galactic community. We were new to interstellar travel. We knew nothing about the other species or the political structures that existed. We were vulnerable, and you chose to hide your true nature. We chose to observe before acting. We watched how the galaxy treated different species. We saw that powerful species were respected but also feared. They faced coalitions formed against them. They were contained and controlled, and sometimes destroyed. Counselor Drex interrupted from his seat. His scales were dull with exhaustion and shame. And weak species were exploited, raided, conquered. Yes, we saw that too. We saw species like the Dominion prey on those who could not defend themselves. We saw the Empire do nothing to stop it. So you pretended to be weak. We presented ourselves as useful but not threatening. We traded goods. We provided services. We made ourselves valuable enough to protect, but not dangerous enough to fear. And we waited. Waited for what? Threx demanded. Waited to learn. Waited to grow. Waited until we understood the galaxy well enough to navigate it safely. Chun paused. And waited until we were strong enough that no one could threaten us. You deceived the entire galaxy. We protected ourselves. Every species does what it must to survive. Humanity survived by appearing harmless while preparing for the day when we would need to show our strength. The chamber buzzed with whispered conversations. Chun let the noise continue for a moment before raising her hand for silence. I want to be clear about something. Humanity does not want war. We never wanted war. For 3 centuries, we have been peaceful neighbors. We have traded fairly. We have honored our agreements. We have asked nothing except to be left alone. Yet, you built weapons of terrifying power. We built defenses against a hostile galaxy. We watched species conquer and destroy each other. We saw raiders like the Dominion prey on the weak. We knew that one day someone would attack us. We prepared for that day. She turned to face Drex directly. The Dominion killed thousands of human civilians. You raided our convoys. You sold our people as slaves. You believed we were too weak to stop you. You were wrong. Drax said nothing. His silence was answer enough. Chun continued. The Battle of New Melbourne was not an act of aggression. It was defense. Your fleet came to burn a human world. Our forces stopped you. This is the natural consequence of attacking people who can fight back. What happens now? Drex asked. Will humanity seek revenge against the Dominion? No. Chun's answer surprised many in the chamber. We could destroy the Dominion. Our capabilities exceed anything you have seen. But we will not use them for conquest or revenge. Why not? Because we are not monsters. We developed weapons to protect ourselves, not to dominate others, not to build an empire, not to prove our superiority. We want peace. We have always wanted peace. This has not changed. She looked around the chamber at the hundreds of faces watching her. Humanity has a choice to make. We could use our technology to become the dominant power in the galaxy. We could conquer species that threatened us. We could build an empire greater than any that came before. But we will not do this. Power without restraint leads to tyranny. Strength without mercy leads to atrocity. We have learned these lessons through our own bloody history. We do not wish to repeat those mistakes. What do you want then? We want what we have always wanted: peace, trade, friendship. We want to explore the galaxy and learn its wonders. We want to grow and prosper alongside other species. We want to be good neighbors. You expect us to believe this? After everything that has happened? Chun smiled sadly. Counselor Threx, for 3 centuries humanity has been exactly what we claim to be. Peaceful traders. Reliable partners. Good neighbors. We helped when asked. We honored our commitments. We never attacked anyone who did not attack us first. But you were hiding weapons. We were hiding defenses. There's a difference. We did not build fleets to conquer. We built forces to protect our homes. We did not develop weapons to attack. We developed technology to survive. She paused to let her words sink in. The Dominion attacked us. We defended ourselves. This does not change who we are. It only reveals what we can do when forced. Archive Master Krilvo spoke from his position near the council seats. His many eyes studied Chun with new understanding. Ambassador, I have spent weeks studying human records. I found gaps, secrets, hidden facilities. But I also found something else. What did you find? Evidence of restraint. Humanity developed weapons that could destroy planets. You never used them. Humanity created technologies that could dominate lesser species. You never deployed them. For 3 centuries, you had the power to conquer the galaxy. You chose not to? Yes, we chose not to. Why? Chun's answer was simple. Because we did not want to become what we feared. The galaxy has enough empires built on blood. Humanity does not need to add another. Silence filled the chamber. Every being present was thinking about what they had heard. Humanity had been hiding strength beyond imagining. They had watched the galaxy underestimate them for 3 centuries. They had built weapons that made them the most powerful species known to exist, and they had chosen peace. This was perhaps the most terrifying revelation of all. Humanity could have conquered everything. They could have crushed every species that annoyed them. They could have built an empire spanning the galaxy. They simply did not want to. Threx finally spoke. What happens now? How does the galaxy move forward? Chun thought for a moment. I hope nothing changes. Humanity wants to remain part of the galactic community. We want to continue trading and cooperating. We want to be friends. And the Dominion? We have no interest in war with the Dominion. If they stop attacking us, we will stop defending ourselves. It is that simple. Drex rose from his seat. He looked broken. His pride shattered. His assumptions destroyed. The Dominion accepts these terms, he said quietly. We will cease all hostile actions against human vessels and worlds. We will pay reparations for our previous attacks. We will attempt to be better neighbors. Chum nodded. That is all we ask. The session continued for hours. Agreements were made. Promises were exchanged. The political structures of the galaxy shifted to accommodate the new reality of human power. Eventually, the assembly ended. Representatives departed to carry news to their homeworlds. The chamber slowly emptied. Only Krilvos remained. He approached Chun as she prepared to leave. Ambassador, may I ask you something personal? Chun smiled. Of course. I have been trying to update the archive's records on humanity, but I find that I still know almost nothing about your true capabilities. Your secrets remain hidden. Yes. Will you ever reveal them? Chen's smile faded. She looked at the ancient archive master with eyes that had seen too much. I hope not. The weapons we showed at New Melbourne were the minimum necessary to stop the attack. We have much worse. Things we hope we never have to use. Things that should never be unleashed. And if someone forces you to use them, then the galaxy will see what humanity is truly capable of. But I pray that day never comes. I pray that what we showed is enough to convince everyone that attacking us is foolish. Krilvos nodded slowly. I understand. I will update the archive accordingly. What will you write? The ancient creature paused. His many eyes reflected centuries of accumulated wisdom. I will write that humanity is a species that chose peace when they could have chosen war. That they hid their strength to avoid frightening others. That they revealed only enough to protect themselves and no more. And what will you conclude? Krilvos smiled. It was an expression his species rarely showed. I will conclude that the galaxy is very fortunate. Humanity could have been a conqueror. Instead, they chose to be a guardian, a protector, a friend. He paused. I will also write that anyone who attacks them is extremely foolish. Because humanity fights to end wars,